Hey, sister girls, welcome back to another episode of Mother Daughter Trauma Recovery TV. If you are new here, my name is Dylesia. I am a licensed therapist, and I've spent about 10 years working with women to help them resolve the impacts of mother daughter trauma. What does that mean, right? So, basically, traumatic experiences that have happened in their relationship with their mom. Sometimes we hear this called the mother wound, toxic mom. Whatever the case may be, traumatic events have happened, and as a result, that daughter is having a hard time showing up as fully herself, and thus it's impacting her ability to thrive in her career and finances, her friendships, her romantic relationships, her parenting, her spirituality, her health. All of those things are being impacted. What people do not realize is that your relationship with your mom, when you are a woman especially, has the capacity to destroy you. We spend so much time focusing on father-daughter relationships and what it means to be a dad, be dad, and to have one, and all of those things. And granted, those do have impacts, right? But a lot of times the impacts that we see in that dynamic are for romantic relationships with members of that same sex as your father, okay? But when it comes to your mom can destroy your entire life. So that's why it's important that we resolve from this. And that is why I have started Mother Daughter Trauma Recovery TV. We have several episodes. If you're stumbling across this one, please go back and look at the full library because we've talked about so many topics. Today's topic, though, is one that is extremely near and dear to my heart, as are they all, because I am a member of this community as well. And I've spent so long resolving and recovering and just trying to be a better person despite all of the things that happened to me because of what occurred within me and my mom's relationship. But this particular topic is near and dear because I do have two young daughters. They're 18 months old. They are identical twins. Their names are Bliss and Flame. And, I hear women constantly always asking me, why do I treat my daughters the same way my mom treated me, even though I don't want to? The good intentions are there. I have the spirit about it. I really, really want to do better, but I can't. And the first reason that I'll give you, and this is actually not one of the reasons that I was planning to give, but I'm still going to give it. Generational curses are no match for good intentions. Like, you cannot good intention your way out of a generational curse. You have to have a strategy, okay? Your strategy cannot be going to a therapist and venting and nothing happens. You need to be working with someone who is actually giving you exercises that are not only helping you with processing, but with actually building from the things that you're realizing that you're struggling with. If trust is an issue of yours, then you need to be doing actual work combating those trust issues that you have. You can't just talk about how you don't trust anybody. So you want to make sure that you are with a therapist who is actually giving you the good work. On top of that, you also have to do work on your own. That might look like journaling, crying, I said crying, praying. Sometimes you do cray, right? Like, we be crying and praying at the same time. So you need to be doing that. You have to be dispelling all of the myths by having these conversations that are tough with people in your social circle. It takes a lot of work, okay? But you need to make sure that if you are in therapy, that it's with somebody who is actually helping you. If you do not have someone that's helping you and you are in the states of Colorado, District of Columbia, Maryland, Tennessee, or Virginia, I own a multi-state group private practice, and we specialize in mother-daughter trauma recovery. It's one of our specialty areas, our entire specialty area cohort, so to say. There are 12 things that we specialize in, and they all fall within the intergenerational, interpersonal trauma umbrella. So please visit the description box below. Click the links, fill out a consultation questionnaire, and we will get you connected to a therapist who will be able to help you actually process through this stuff and move forward by giving you actual homework, okay? A homework therapist is what I am. And of no surprise, I'm going to be giving you homework at the end of this video, so stay tuned. So, why do you treat your daughter the same way that your mom treated you, even though you don't want to? We know that it's because you need strategy, but what are the actual reasons why? So first off, I want you, if you have not watched my previous video, my most previous ones about how your mom's relationship with her mom impacts her relationship with you, go back and watch that. And I also want you to watch my most recent video which was about why your mom treats you better than other people. As you watch those, it's going to make this video make even more sense. So let's just hop into it. Why are you treating your daughter the same way that your mom treats you? Number one, you are looking for relatability or an alliance from your mom. Even if she is not here anymore, your mom could be passed away, God rest her soul. You could not talk to her anymore. Mentally, you may be wanting relatability or an alliance with her. And for that reason, you want to feel closer to her. It helps you reconcile your mother-daughter trauma. It helps you kind of understand why she treated you the way that you treated her in order for you to perform those same actions on your daughter. One of my daughters is knocking on the door right now. She's supposed to be with her daddy, but it's okay. So she might knock again. But anyway, so looking for relatability or an alliance from your mom is one of the reasons why women treat their daughters the same way. It's like, as I said on one of my last videos, you are getting inducted into the toxic mom society. And the only people who can relate to each other in that society are toxic moms. So in order to be included in that, and in order to be able to embrace your mom, fully understand her, get her understanding back, and almost have this shared sort of just unspoken commitment to one another, we do the same thing to our daughters. So that could be number one. I talked largely about it in my most recent video, so make sure you go stay tuned to that. I really break down why we are looking for affirmation from our mom, even if she's not here to give it to us. So that's number one. Number two, it's all about you, okay? So I want you to know that the reason why you're treating your daughter the way that your mom treated you is why your mom treated you the way that she treated you. It's because there are unresolved issues that you have with your own self. So you are likely fixating on aspects of your personality instead of the total picture of your personality, okay? I have some examples for this. So I've been called a lot of different things, right? But, there are some aspects of those things that I've been called that have impacted me for long after the person said what they said. They've had ripple effects in my life. Three of those that come to mind are, and I'll go from in chronological order from the latest one to, and by latest, I mean like it happened a long time ago, to the most recent one. So when I was in college, I had a friend, and this friend reminded me so much of my mom. Like she was, oh, I don't know. Let me know below if you have any friends or have had friends. I hope you don't have any right now. But if you've had any friends that literally to the core, how they speak to you, how they act, how they regard you, the advice that they give you, the support that they do or don't give you, it all reminded you of your mom, then you're going to know IYKYK. If you know, you're going to know what I'm talking about. So this friend was very similar to my mom in so many ways. My mom didn't like her, which was very ironic. My mom seemed to hate everyone who mistreated me besides herself. But nonetheless, this person reminded me of my mom. And in college, I was really involved. I was extremely active. I was a part of so many student organizations. I started student organizations. I've always been somebody who had a lot of ideas, a lot of ambition, just really coming up with something and being like, let's get a team together and let's figure out how to put this into the world. So this particular friend seemed to get offended by my bopping around and being a part of everything. And, we won't even go into why. I will say that she didn't have as much going on as I did, but she called me scatterbrained, and it hurt me. It hurt me to my core, and it's something that I remember today. And at times I'm often like, it still stabs me, People can trigger that in me. So scatterbrained has been one of the things. Also, another thing, and this was a little bit later, I ended up having this guy that I was dating when I was a young adult, and he had friends that I was nice to. I'm a nice person. Like, I know how to build relationships with people. And one of his friends got the wrong idea about my niceness and tried to hit on me. And the guy told me that it was my fault because I was too nice. So that's another one that has kind of got to me as well. Like, are you too nice? Are you being too nice? Are people receiving you wrong? Do they think you're being fake? All those things came from that one statement that random guy that don't matter no more said to me. The third one was more recently. It was probably within the last couple of years for sure. And I had a team member of mine tell me that I talk too much. Now, granted, that team member had a lot going on in their life that would have impacted their capacity to receive the information that I was giving them. And I was honestly just trying to get their feedback on some things that we needed to implement. And the position that they were in required a lot of conversation. It was a position that was really the lifeblood of the organization, of my practice, in terms of bringing clients in and out the door. Like, that is somebody that's going to have to talk to, not, it might not be me, at this point in my business, it's not me that position will have to talk to. They will be talking to somebody else, but you're gonna have to talk because we need some answers about what is the status of this referral and what's the status of that, and have you talked to this person? So either way, that person said that, and that hurt me to my core as well. And all of these things sort of relate to the same sort of insecurity, which is like, there is too much of you there. You just do the most. You're extra. Now, I say all that to say, not to process this situation, or the situations rather, but more so to say that if I fixated on those aspects of my personality, you talk too much, you have too many ideas, you're too nice. If I fixated on those and didn't look at the total picture of, wow, Dylesia, you are a YouTuber. You're a therapist. You are a huge visionary. You are someone who has a great capacity to connect with people from all over the world, diverse places, off of the fact that you're able to be a conversationalist and to deliver things in such a relatable way. That's what all of that ends up meaning at the end of the day, right? Me talking too much, me being scatterbrained, me being too nice, I wouldn't be where I am right now if I was not any of those things, right? They were just said in ways that seemed destructive and negative. However, if we reframe them, we're able to be like, yo, she is an icon, right? So I say all that to say that one of the reasons why you mistreat your daughter in the same ways that your mom did you is because you are fixating on aspects of your personality instead of looking at the full picture as to how those things that, if looked at in silo, could be very negative things, are working together to create who you are and who God has called you to be. If you're doing that to yourself, you're also doing that to your daughter. It is impossible for you to not regard your daughter in the same way that you do yourself, because she is a reminder of you, a walking, breathing reminder of you. And I got two of them, okay? And I don't fixate on aspects of their personality because I know that even if I said in a video before, I get be getting neck rolls now, that's gonna iron out one day. One day I might have an actress on my hand who needs to add a little emphasis to what she's saying. Or I'm gonna have someone that used to neck roll and now they know how to keep it, keep it a little tight when they're communicating their dissatisfaction with people. But nonetheless, I'm able to see that everything is gonna work together in the way that it has for me. The way that I embrace and support and love myself, and even remove myself from environments where people are unsupportive of certain aspects of my personality, or they fixate on certain qualities instead of looking at the total picture. If I do that, then I'm able to give that to my daughter. So I just want you to question what type of people you're around, what type of situations you're putting yourself in, and then also how your self-talk is, because that is the same way that it's going to come out as criticism for your daughter. Your self-talk ends up coming out as the words that you say to her. So we want to make sure that we're working with our mental health professional to stop being so critical, okay? Because that is why you're treating your daughter the way that you treat her, because you're critical, not just of her, but of yourself, because your mom was critical of you. We got to cut that umbilical cord and start feeding more positivity into ourselves. And also saying that, yeah, this quality that could be perceived wrong by this person or in this particular situation is actually serving me over here. So I'm going to spend more time over here and with these people. Okay. So then lastly, number 3, you have a reliance on struggle and believe that it is the only thing that is capable of producing character. That was a mouthful, Dylesia, right? So, a lot of us, we really want to raise our children differently. We want to just give them better experiences. A lot of times they end up being materialistic things, which really don't matter, but we're not going to go into that on this video. We want them to have a better life. But part of us in the back of our mind is like, how do we make them good people if they have everything they want, if they are fully loved and never experience any struggle? And that influences us to manufacture struggle, to haze them almost, to make things hard so that their induction into adulthood is just as difficult as ours was because ours made us a better person, right? So I want to dispel that. Number one, I want to say you did not need what happened to you in order to become who you were. God used it. He used it for sure. He made all things work together for your good, Romans 8:28, like he promised to do. He did that. But he did not in any way need the pain, the turmoil, the despair. He didn't need any of that. He just did what he had to do to make it work because he had it. It was some of the ingredients that got thrown into the pot. Also, if you are, this is the second thing I'm going to say, if you're relying on struggle to produce character, we got to question your faith, sis, okay? Are you praying for your child? And yes, I know, don't kill me in the comments. As I said before, kill me in the comments if you want to, whatever. But it is a lack of faith. It shows a lack of faith if you're relying on man made, devilish, because I mean, manufacturing struggle for somebody is a very manipulative, negative, devilish thing to do. So you're relying on these concepts to create a good person instead of just thinking, if I pray and put in the investments that are going to get my child to where I want them to be, then they're going to be who God has called them to be. It's a faith issue there. So we have issues with our faith, issues with how we see ourselves, and also the desire to be closer to our mom. There are all the reasons why we mistreat our daughters. So what do we do about it, right? All of these things are just hinting at there being too much of a gap between the mother version of you and the daughter version of you. And then also God as a mother. We hear God oftentimes referred to as father. So this is something that me and my husband did when we used to live in a dorm, and it was a dorm for his medical school. And it was a depressing place, y'all. It stunk in that dorm. There was like, it just was bad. Like, it was bad, y'all. We had our freaking, what do you call it? Our shower was like breaking, like could have caved in. There were roaches. It was nasty, y'all. But that's where we stayed. And one of the things we did to kind of spruce up the place is we had names of God all over the walls. And we took post-it notes and just wrote different like names that we either knew that God was referred to, such as like Jehovah Jireh, or things that were healing for us. So one of the words that I put on my post-it was mom, because that's what I call my mom, is mom. And that word was triggering for me. You know, there was a time and place in my life where I didn't like the word mom. Like, I didn't like moms. I didn't like the word. Like, all of it just felt icky to me. It felt like somebody who wanted control over you. It felt like somebody who was unsupportive. It felt like somebody who was out to get you. Like, that's what I associated with the word mom. And so I wanted to correct my vision, the way that I saw that. And the only way was to give that title to God and allow him to mend it. And I say all that to say that just as much as God is your holy father, why can't he be your holy mother? So I want you to lean into him. I want you to lean into him, okay? And then you won't feel so much like you need an alliance with your mom. You won't be able to say negative things about yourself because you know that you are his handiwork and you're fearfully and wonderfully made. You'll also know that he is who is going to create in your child who they need to be, not struggle. So it's a faith issue, number one, and we have to become closer to God. Number two, like I said, it's a mother you versus daughter you. There's too much of a gap between there, and that's where reparenting comes in. We have to reparent ourselves, or there's going to forever be that gap. There are going to be versions of you that are 7 years old, versions of you that are 10, versions of you are 13. All these are ages where your mom inflicted some sort of pain on you. And until you, as a mother, go back and mend that little broken girl from those painful experiences and continuously mend it, it's not one time. It is you have to hold on tight to healing and never let it go. Over and over, you will be mending yourself. Okay? Until you do that, it's going to keep being a gap. And you're going to keep parenting your daughter from that gap. And that gap is empty. That gap is cold. That gap is heartless. And that's where your mothering is coming from right now. But we got to reconcile daughter you and mother you. And then they're the same person. And you're able to parent her from a place of wisdom, respect, love, compassion, no longer feeling resentment because you feel like you didn't get the things that, you're giving her. You're able to do it from a holistic place. So I said all that to say, how do we do it? What is your homework? Your homework for this session of Mother Daughter Trauma Recovery TV is I want you to go get a feeling wheel, okay? You could type that in Google, feeling wheel. There's one I really like, and I don't have like a copy of it right now, but you'll know what I'm talking about because it's a circle. I mean, a wheel is a circle, but it's a circle and it's split into very small slithers, like pies almost. And it has all the feelings that we're used to, like the core emotions of sad, happy, mad, glad, all those, scared. And then it takes those core emotions and breaks them into even smaller pieces of pie that give us different emotions. So, like sad, it could actually be embarrassed, or angry could actually be betrayed. Maybe you feel betrayed instead of angry. Maybe you feel embarrassed instead of sad. It's giving you other words that go deeper than just that very basic emotion that we're used to. So what I want you to do, I want you to find that feeling chart that I just told you about. It'll be really obvious because if you type it in Google, it's probably one of the first ones that's going to come up. I want you to print it out. And I want you, if you don't know what any of those emotions that are up there mean, it is totally okay because most of us do not have a very high emotional vocabulary. We weren't taught it, right? You're being reparented through watching these videos. So you're going to reparent yourself and find out what each of those emotions up there mean. Then from there, you're going to go one by one. And this is a homework assignment that is going to take you way longer than a week to do. So you're going to come back and watch the other videos that I'm posting. You're still going to be doing this homework assignment. You're going to go through and journal and give me a different experience of every one of those emotions. So what I mean by that is I don't want you using the same little boy who broke your heart in third grade for embarrassed as you will for sad. Like, no, we need different experiences. I need you to pull from the depths of your soul because you are a grown woman and come up with some unique experiences that you've experienced for each of those emotions. Why am I having you do this? I'm having you do this because this is going to increase your emotional vocabulary. We need your emotional vocabulary increased so that you can do part 2 of this homework, which is mirror work. Once you are done defining emotions and journaling about them, processing them with your therapist, if that's what you choose to do, I want you every day to sit in front of the mirror, scan how you're feeling. That's where those feelings come in hand. You can't know how you're feeling if you don't have the vocabulary to label how you're feeling. So I want you to scan how you're feeling. And then I want you to ask yourself, that version of you, I want you to see her as a child, honestly, and say, what do you need from me today? That's a part of reparenting. Acknowledging what the inner child version of you needs. And as an adult, a mother version, whether you're a mother or not, you're a mother to yourself, okay? Especially because you don't have a mama. You have a toxic mom. You have to become your own mom. And the only way to do that is to figure out what that child needs and to provide it to her from the adult version of yourself. And as you do that, they'll continue to become closer and closer, and you'll realize that your trauma is becoming resolved. Then I want you to surrender, okay? So we have done our feeling work. We figured out how to label our emotions. We've discovered what we need. We are realizing, dang, I am the only person who can give this to myself, because this is something I always say. The only person who can love you like your mother should have loved you is you. You're the only one capable of that. Only person. You can't get it from your partner. You can't get it from your friends. It has to be you to reparent yourself. And yes, we do have relationships that reparent us, but nobody's going to do it deeper than you, baby, okay? So you have to acknowledge, God, there are some deficits. I realize that the younger version of me needs this. I don't have the capability of giving that to her. That's where the surrender and where looking at God as the mother comes in. Because you're going to go and say, she needs this and I don't have it. She needs compassion. She needs grace. God, I didn't learn how to give compassion or grace. I only know how to be hard. I remember there was a time in my life, y'all, and I thought this was funny, where I would cuss myself out. I'd be like, B, you need to get it together. What the F is wrong with you? And I called that encouragement. I thought I was motivating myself. Little did I know I was duplicating the way that my mom spoke to me. And it wasn't helping, it was only doing more damage. Once I started to be gentle with myself and to really partner with God as my mother to teach me how to do that, that's when healing started to happen, y'all. So it's time out for all the hardball, hardcore ways of interacting with ourselves, because that is why we are showing up hardball and hardcore with our daughters. It's not cute, y'all. It's not cute to be grown and a mean girl. First of all, it ain't cute to be young and a mean girl, but we will leave childish behaviors to children. But it's definitely not okay to be grown and being a mean girl to other people, but especially not to yourself, okay? You have to stop doing that. You have to get the relationship with you intact and become your biggest supporter, or you're always going to parent your daughter the same way your mom did you. Okay? So that is all I have for you today. Please continue to stay tuned, continue to show up, continue to do the work, even when it's hard. If you got to watch my videos multiple times, one time to just get, what is she talking about today? The next time to take notes, the third time to write takeaways. How many ever times you have to watch it, do what you got to do, sis, okay? This is heavy content. It's no way to make it anything different. I come across in a lighthearted way. I know I give you stories that make you feel better. I make jokes from time to time, but at the end of the day, the work is difficult. So if it takes you a long time, I know it's not going to just be a week. I post a video every single week. I know that from week to week, there's still work to be done from the previous video. If you have to binge watch these, if you have to take a break and come back once you feel like you have fully settled into your spirit, the last thing that I've talked about, do whatever you have to do, okay? I want this to be a video like workbook almost, where you're able to say, okay, I grasped this concept. Let me move on to the next one. Okay, I thought I had this, but then this thing came up. Let me go back and watch this. This is literally my gift to every woman who has felt how I felt at one point. Because all these concepts that I've come up with, y'all, they're things that I've come up with. I went to therapy, and all my therapist had to offer me was talking. And talking is great, getting things out, admitting, confronting, those kinds of things are very helpful. But there were so many people who didn't want to talk about my mom, who didn't know how to broach the topic of a mom being toxic because their mom was toxic and they hadn't come to terms with that. So I got a lot of like, that's your mom and you only get one, and those kinds of things that were very unhelpful. So I had to get in the trenches and figure it out myself, and then find providers who were willing for me to tell them what I needed. Hey, this is what I normally do, but I need you to help supplement it in this way, and really be directive in my own care. And I know, and I'm so grateful. There is so many people who follow me on Instagram, and I got a comment the other day, and the lady said, her name's Nikita. She said, thank you for going first. Thank you for going first, taking the lead. Y'all, that matters so much to me because that's what I'm doing. I'm taking the lead, y'all. I went first, and this is me paying it back. So I just want you to know from the bottom of my heart that I support you. I love you. I want you to make it as far as you were supposed to make it, had that trauma never happened. And we are going to fight for this, y'all. So continue to show up, like I said, and I will see you next time in my next video. Bye.